Last time on Square Roots. Once upon a time, in New York City, there lived a community of fairy tale characters known as Fabletown. The fables who lived there arrived hundreds of years ago, after they were exiled from their homelands. Through the use of a magic spell called Glamour, they have protected their secret community from the mundane world. Sheriff Bigby Wolf protects them from each other. Oh, the wolf among us!
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Hello, Jim Banks. Why do I always sound so surprised to be introduced?
John Bigby Brandon.
Ow! It's the wolf among us. Dun 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 dun.
And Vanessa.
Once upon a time, I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs, except for this week. And the next 2 weeks, when we're going to talk about a cool adventure game called The Wolf Among Us.
Wow.
Yeah,
One
we're sick of
chunker
RPGs.
at a time.
We're sick of leveling up. We're sick of side quests. We're sick of armor. We're sick of combat. We're sick of dice rolls. We're sick of it. RPGs, bleh, bleh, boo.
There you go. If you were wondering why we chose all adventure games for the last vote, that's why. Sick of it.
Wait,
Yeah.
I thought Matthew was like, I kind of want to play a JRPG next. I've been craving it.
I don't
He
think
said
I've
that,
ever said
but-
that in my life, actually.
I think Matt did say
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
actually.
100%
positive
said that.
those words have never crossed my lips.
Listen, there's one simple rule. It's not like a rule like I make a list of rules that I post on the wall for you guys to follow. This is like a rule of nature.
Mm-hmm.
The rule of nature is that whatever Matt says he wants to do, he will change his mind and or
Yes.
forget that he said that
Right.
in a week.
He will not only forget that he said it, he will deny that the
Yep.
words ever crossed his lips.
Yes.
And speaking of, don't hold your breath on Beyond Two Souls for the next bonus episode.
Does anybody have any hot gaming news? I feel like it's been kind of the light news week from a
Oh,
gaming
no,
standpoint.
not at all. I have so
No?
much hot gaming news.
Lay
Lay
it
it
on
on me.
us.
That's not how you do a transition to your field
yeah, there's a
correspondent. Do it properly.
huge one.
Was there?
Yeah, but I'll let.
I wonder if it's one of the same ones that I have.
I bet it is. Vanessa,
Maybe.
would you like to
Yeah.
introduce this segment?
Yeah, welcome to Hot Gaming News. This is Vanessa out in the field, and I have some hot gaming news for you. Boo-boo. Story number 1. The Embracer Group
Yep.
has
Ooh.
purchased the rights to The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbits as far as video games go.
I don't think
And
it's
many
just
other
video
I don't
games,
think
right?
it's just
It's not video
everything.
games.
Yeah.
It seems to be everything. The only thing that I did not see mentioned was TV rights, and I wondered if that was because Amazon has this TV show going.
That very well may be the case. Amazon seems to have relied on a loophole that excluded TV series of more than 8 episodes from being covered by the rights holder, Xantas, who had the rights
that's-
before.
Well,
So-
who's that? Why doesn't the estate have it anymore? Do you
They
think
sold
that
it.
after the estate has it, should we give a shit anymore about who has the rights? It's all fan fiction from that point, right?
Well, sure. But, I mean, should we give a shit in the ethical, moral sense? Not very much, Should
Well,
we
yeah,
give
no,
a
some
shit in
rights
the
holder
sense
holds
of,
it
like, we can't make our own Lord of the Rings because we'll get sued? Yes, we should.
Oh, yeah, sure. That makes sense.
Anyway, this
We're
group...
going to do National Vanessa's Lampoon's Board of the Rings.
Yeah, Vanessa Lampoon's Board of the Rings, starring
The hot bits.
Frilbo Baguette. It's a female protagonist, and her
Gotta
name
have
is
a female protagonist this
Frilbo
time.
because she has frills and a bow, and Baguette because
Hang on.
she's a lady, but
Whoa,
like
whoa,
a
whoa,
baguette,
whoa.
like a bread baguette.
Who doesn't?
I'm sorry, this is still part of the National Lampoon's universe, so those are going to have to be sex-related puns.
Oh, sorry.
Don't do dildo.
Bimbo.
That's been
Wait,
used.
no, Bimbo. Bag tits.
Bimbo bag tits.
Yeah, bimbo bag tits.
I love it. That's 10 out of 10 National Lampoon's quality joke.
Thank you. The Embracer Group has also purchased Gearbox, THQ Nordic,
Yeah.
and is trying to purchase a bunch of properties from Square Enix. They're buying everything.
Where do they get all their
Raiders
money?
is-
They're private equity, bro.
Yeah, nobody
Lots of money.
knows.
Huh. Wonder if they're like Scientologists.
Do you guys think that this means that they're going to fuck this up terribly, or do you think that there is somebody behind this that, like, wants to reinvigorate good properties?
No,
I think
people
it's-
only spend money to make money these days.
So it's all going to be garbage from here on out? All right,
I
good to
mean,
know.
they are making they are like investing in them. So like, I think that they'll probably expect some IPs to be churned out in the next few years, and I hope that
Yeah.
they're good.
I mean, if they're smart, savvy business people, they'll hire people who care to do the things. But I don't think that
Yeah.
the capital hedge fund investors particularly care, probably.
No,
So they'll
not the
go to,
people
like-
at the top. Hopefully,
Yeah.
the people who are like managing these individual, whatever portfolio these are in, or
Yeah.
is, like cares enough, you know.
I just think that now that they own Lord of the Rings and Deus Ex and Tomb Raider, we should get a Lord of the Rings Deus
Yeah.
Ex Tomb Raider mashup.
I was gonna say
Ooh.
they did buy a chunk of Square, didn't they? Or did that not happen yet? I
No,
thought
they
that
bought some other developer.
They bought Eidos, which was the
Yeah.
Square. Okay, that's the developer that Square owned.
Yeah.
So yes, so they own Tomb Raider and Deus Ex and Soul Reaver now, which they talked about. Fucking Soul Reaver. You know what? Here's the thing: it's brand new, so I guess we'll see what they put out. Like maybe they'll put out some fucking quality shit based on some of these old properties that people don't use, but probably they'll put out some real junk based on some
Yeah.
properties that people care a lot about, and it'll be a real shit show.
It'll be interesting because it seems like being an independent developer the size of maybe like a THQ Nordic or something is kind of precarious. Like it seems like all these game development companies are always on the brink of bankruptcy or being bought and like turned into something else. So if this, I don't know, like private equity firm is buying these up so that they can actually make quality games, like it's gross from a capitalism standpoint, but it kind of makes me a little bit hopeful. Any other HGN?
Yeah. Boo-boo. Story number 2. Set leaks from the Fallout TV series.
Oh yeah, looking pretty good.
Yeah, we've seen some pictures of a vault. We've seen some pictures of an old,
Who's doing this one?
dilapidated.
Amazon. It looks like the exterior of that. What I saw in that set photo looked like the exterior of that first like supermarket that you go to in Fallout 3,
It does.
which looked really good.
Yep.
You
and
know,
then there were some
Amazon-
pictures of like a old abandoned vault.
Did a good looking Halo. I like that Halo show. I mean, they definitely did their own story, so I guess you can expect that and not just maybe mimicking or retelling one of the stories from the games. But it looked good, and I felt
Maybe they'll get
did a
Liam
good
Neeson
job.
to reprise his role.
hell
I
yeah.
hope so.
That would be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It'll be
The
amazing.
hottest daddy in video games. And my last piece of hot gaming news. We'll see if this is Johnny's story that he wanted to talk about.
You already did my story. It
The-
was The Hobbit.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, right out of the gate. Look at that. I thought it would be this one. Nexus, the mod community, they got heckin' mad because somebody tried to mod all of the pride flags out of Spider-Man.
Oh,
and
that
Nexus
story was
was like,
amazing.
No, you're banned. And not only did they ban the account that posted it, they tracked the account to like the other accounts that the same user had and banned them too. And they were like, get the heck out of here. And they released a statement that said, hi, we've banned this person. And if you don't like it, you can get the heck out of here too. Goodbye.
Boom.
I don't know that they did trace down their real account, and ban them from the story that I read.
Well, with a counter perspective, here's Matt.
Well, I did read like 2 stories on it, and they did both say that they banned the account because it was like a sock puppet account. But anyway, it was a great story, as Vanessa told it. Nexus Mods, thumbs up to that response. I think the greatest response was, if you have a problem with us not tolerating intolerance, then please go ahead and delete your account and move on with your life, and we will do the same.
Yeah.
Any more hot game news?
Not
Gang?
for me. I feel like I've really carried the lamb here.
Yeah.
So
It's
Yeah.
funny because I tried to look into the hot gaming news of the week, and I was like, nothing of interest. But Vanessa found all sorts of stuff to talk about, which is great.
I'm an ace reporter.
Ace reporter Vanessa.
I'm out there following leads. I'm talking to witnesses. I'm getting the scoop.
They call her Scoops Vanessa.
Now I'm worried that the Embracer Group is owned by Scientology, so we're just asking questions, but that's brought to you here first by the Square Roots Podcast.
I did make that up. I mean,
And I think the important thing is that we all talk about how we leveled up this week. You know, guys?
Yeah, level up. Wait,
Sure.
does nobody have any other stories? It was just me. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My hot gaming news is that I learned right before we started recording that there's a Tekken anime on Netflix.
There's a what?
A Tekken anime on Netflix. I think it got sneak released today, which is a little weird for Netflix. You know?
Well, Tekken, it's not the most mainstream thing. It's got people, their hair stand up way too high. So
Yeah.
maybe Netflix is just like, we know this isn't for everyone. The people who it's for will find it. People
Yeah.
who it's not for, if they see it, they'll get upset because the hair stand up way too high.
They got me too, because it's like I turned on Netflix and it was like, hello, we have a Tekken anime now. And I was like, oh, it's only 6 episodes too. The little trailer, I was like, yep. So I watched about 5 minutes of it before
do
we started
Bob and
recording.
Marduk kiss?
I don't know who those people are.
How much time is spent showing the characters doing their hair to show how high it gets?
0 so far.
I went to college with a girl who had the Amy Winehouse hairdo, like the full
Oh, wow.
60s bouffant, and she spent 45 minutes every morning doing her hair.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, she must have found it satisfying.
Vanessa, would you like to tell us how you leveled up?
Yeah.
Do it.
I watched a show called She-Hulk.
What?
Shulk.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's called Shulk. This is a Marvel show. It is based on the character Shulk, who is
She-Hulk.
an attorney and
Attorney at law.
a Hulk and a she-her. So she's She-Hulk, attorney at law. I liked it. A lot of people complained about the CGI quality leading up to it, but you know what? I have a new philosophy on CGI. It goes like this. Sometimes I watch a cartoon, and I don't have a problem with that, so I can deal with CGI. It's just cartoon.
It's a bit hard to hold. It's a bit hard to complain about the CGI when you're reading articles like testimonies from people who are like, it's awful working for Marvel and doing this.
Yes, there's that
Like,
too. They're getting
maybe-
a real bad reputation for like
Yeah.
sweatshop running.
Maybe it does not need to fucking be great. It's fine.
Maybe it doesn't have to be great. Maybe we just, in my day, you spray paint a dude green and you're like, hey, it's Lou Ferrigno the Hulk. And everyone was satisfied with that. Nowadays, we have all these fancy computers and people still aren't satisfied.
Let's all just lower our standards.
We'll just lower our standards. And
Marvel.
let's appreciate things for what they are.
For Disney. That's how I
for
watched
the
the She-Hulk
richest
too.
media company in the world.
Can I share your level up?
Yes, you may.
I watched the She-Hulk, and I thought it was amazing. I loved it. I watched it twice. I did think that the CGI... I watched it the second time, and I felt like it was like early in the episode, and in a lot of like false lighting, like underground lighting. It looked a little weird, but I felt like by the middle of the episode, they were like out in natural light, and it looked a lot better for pretty much the rest of the episode.
And usually that's the hardest one to get right.
I thought it looked much better. She looked very like, I don't know. It's tough. I don't know enough about CGI. It just looked kind of stiffly weird, or like weirdly colored, or like, I don't know.
Stiffly Weird
didn't
is
look
the
great.
name of my gothic steampunk persona.
For like the first, I don't know, quarter of the episode. But then it kind of like moves outside, and it's fine.
Weird, and I'm here to solve your mysteries, Matthew.
Well, I also I like Bruce Banner much better than the Hulk, and I would be happy to have less hulking, more bannering, in general.
Who
I don't
is
need a lot
Vanessa's
of
favorite Hulk actor? Edward Norton?
No.
What about Eric Bana?
Nope.
Really? Is it Mark Ruffalo?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
That was fun. I'm surprised you didn't throw Lou Ferrigno in there. I'd already made the reference, It seems like I'm a big fan.
I figured Edward Norton was a no, but I kind of thought Eric Bana was going to be the one. I mean, come on. Eric Bana?
Sure. Yeah. I understand, but I really like Ruffalo's portrayal of Bruce as being a little bit more lighthearted in general. But in this case, Mark Ruffalo is not playing She-Hulk. She-Hulk is played by Tatiana Maslany. You may know her from Comedy Bang Bang. That's where I know her from.
No, I know her from that show where she's like all the characters.
Orphan Black.
Orphan
Yeah.
Black. She's so good in Orphan Black, where she plays half of the cast. That show was amazing. And I kind of I think that as a big fan of that show, I spent a long time wondering what is she going to do, Like, it feels like she could go, win Oscars and stuff, awards and stuff.
She's very good in this.
And then she was on Comedy Bang
Instantly
Bang.
likable. Yeah, she was on Comedy Bang Bang, and she's like, we wanted to be on Comedy Bang Bang because we like the show. She was on with her, Orphan Black co-star.
Uh-huh.
And Scott Aukerman was very confused. He's like, people don't want to be on this show who are not, LA comedians. What are you doing here? And they're like, we love Comedy Bang Bang. We're Canadian. Goodbye.
I listened to those as well, and she is very funny, and she continued to come back once a year up until I stopped listening to Comedy Bang Bang, which was, I don't know, a while ago. God knows it went on. It's still going on, I think. Who knows?
It's still on my feed. I might listen to it sometimes, but I prefer Freedom.
I feel like she continued coming back, and not necessarily with those co-hosts as well, and just kind of became not a regular, but, a semi-regular on that show. She was very funny.
She's a regular funny lady. She likes podcasts, and now she's the She-Hulk. And
Now she's the She-Hulk.
Oh, everybody's so mad. And by everybody, I mean trolls on the internet.
Wow, that's a sad story. Do we have to talk about this?
No,
It's a bummer.
it is a bummer because it's a good show. It's funny and fun.
Somebody did a look at the age range for the people that were rating She-Hulk 1 star before a single episode released, and it was all men in their 30s and 40s and 50s. Can you fucking imagine being a 30-plus-year-old man and 1 star reviewing things out of, I don't know, whatever fucking need to do that? What a sad testament to the failure of the human race.
I don't know. It's just weird. This whole rise in misogyny and homophobia and everything. It's weird as fuck. Anyway, I did like the show. Did you like the show, Matt?
I love the show. A couple of things I wanted to bring up. I thought that it felt free to make fun of men in a way that a lot of comedies do not. And that was so fun. And Tatiana Maslany is fucking fantastic. She's great in everything that I've seen her in, as we've just discussed, but great in this. And they do a lot of work to carry her facial expressions over onto the She-Hulk CGI model, I guess. It feels like they're doing the button face thing, whatever it's called.
Button facing.
Facial.
Yeah, button facing.
It's great, and it does look a little weird sometimes, but fucking what do you want out of life? Shit is what it is. I'm going to enjoy it for what it is, which is a hilarious comedy with great acting. This episode also has a lot of Mark Ruffalo and a little bit of Jamila Jamil, and she's fucking delightful in everything I've seen her in. She does not have a lot of screen time here, but that's fine.
We're going
I
to see
feel
more
like
of her.
she'll definitely be coming back, and that's great.
As a she myself, when I'm watching a show about ladies, what is written by ladies, it's often very easy to tell. And I felt that watching this, that this was a sort of true representation of a lot of female experiences. Mild spoiler to come. Brace yourself if you don't want to hear it. Skip forward 15 minutes, but
15 minutes?
there's
Wow.
15 seconds, 15 minutes. Here I go with my monologue. There's a bit where a character is in the women's restroom and some other women come in and start looking after her and taking care of her. And that is so true to life. I have never been so complimented as I have been like in ladies' restrooms in random restaurants by other drunk girls who are just like, oh my God, I love your skirt. Yay. Bye. It's a very, very friendly, fun environment.
That's a great scene and a lot of great stuff, and I can't wait to see what comes next, because I've seen that the internet or the press releases, I guess, seem to be billing it as a like a half-hour comedy sitcom, legal comedy sitcom, which I hope this one has a lot of story, and I hope that I'm looking forward to more episodes of comedy lawyer sitcom.
Well, whenever you introduce new superhero, you basically have to get out of the way. Hey, here's this person, here's why they have superpower. And they did it pretty quickly and in a satisfactory way.
I felt like it was hilariously quick and who
It
cares?
was super quick. Yeah.
Yeah. It made me laugh. Like, who fucking cares? Let's just get through this. By the way, last thing to say that I'll say on it, She-Hulk, best mid-credit stinger in quite a while. Really made me fucking laugh my head off. Both times I watched it.
Did somebody walk through a doorway and say, "It's me, Blorko"?
No. It ends on, and I won't. He's not gonna
Don't say
watch it,
anything
right?
about it. Who's not going to watch it? Now, the listeners are going to watch it. Don't tell Jim a ding-dang thing. He doesn't deserve to know. I think anyone who enjoyed, Peacemaker would probably like She-Hulk.
Yeah,
Similar
very
kind of
similar. Similar
vibes.
kind of comedy. I kind of hope it has less action, to be honest with you. I do not need action.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, I agree. I mean,
Anyway.
there's so much to explore in a world with superpowered people of just how the administrative functions work and what it's like for people in their day-to-day lives. And
People who have superpowers who just live.
yeah, and
and
also
are on the Avengers.
what is it like being in this world where presumably the Avengers are like the biggest stars in the world, right? Like they
Yeah.
would have to be.
Yeah.
And what that means and what it's like. And The Boys does a lot of that, but in that sort of, cynical way. So I think it would
Yeah,
be
it's so
fun to
cynical.
see a more straightforward, like, this is the world and this is the experience of the people in it. It's cool. I like it.
It's good. Good stuff. Marvel once again. All right. We've monopolized. And in fact, I will not even talk about my second thing, which was Prey. Vanessa.
Yeah. Oh, I
else
get to
did you level up?
choose. I get to choose. Oh, another way.
or you can choose. I'm just
No,
either way.
no other way really. I've been playing Harvest Moon, The Light of Hope more because it's a very easy game to pick up on like a break from work and then walk away from. I still don't think it's good, but it's on PlayStation 4. It's on there like if you have the bonus subscription, you can play that.
I forgot to
I
cancel
don't think it was
that.
originally
Now I
a
have another
PlayStation.
3 months of it.
Yeah. Oh, then you can play it too. I do like to play those games, you know, like your Stardew's, your Harvest Valleys.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, there's something so...
Harvest Valley, isn't that a granola bar?
Your Harvest Valley, your Nature Valley, your, what's another? Other granola bars are available anywhere you get your groceries. I don't remember the product names of them. It's just like, you know, you start playing those things and it's addictive. You're just like, oh, just one more day and I can grow my little carrots and then I can go make friends with Jojo who sells the flowers and then I can go explore the mine and maybe I can get to the bottom of the mine. Oh my God, here's the harvest sprite. You know? Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It gives me that little serotonin release of like, same thing when you're playing like a match 3 game or something, you know? It's just like, I have been given a task, I completed the task, and now I get a new task. It's Taskmaster, basically. Any of these Harvest games are Taskmaster, and I love getting tasks and doing tasks and performing my daily tasks. So, Jim, how did you level up?
I decided, against my better judgment, to watch the Uncharted film adaptation.
Oh, dang.
Uncharted Teen.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you call him the other day?
Teen Raider.
I was so happy.
And even though it was a passable adventure film, I feel like it failed as an Uncharted adaptation. Also, like, you're going to cast Mark Wahlberg. I've mentioned this to you guys multiple times, but what a fucking flub casting Mark Wahlberg in the Sully role when Jeffrey Dean Morgan is right there. He's not doing anything.
Oh,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan would have been great as Sully.
What's the...
I don't know if Jeffrey Dean Morgan would be thrilled to hear he's not doing anything.
He's just hanging out on The Walking Dead. That's awesome. That's really all he's up to right now. But it...
What about... I feel like Bill Macy could have been a good Sully,
Who's
too.
Bill Macy?
William H. Macy?
Oh, well, I don't know. He doesn't really have the like, Sully's pretty beefy. He's kind of a beefster.
Is he?
Yeah, he's more tanky.
Okay.
William H. Macy is more kind of delicate and...
I feel like JDM, as I call him, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, has that sexy, sexy presence and energy you need in a Sully. And Mark Wahlberg is boring, and he's a boring actor, and he's a piece of shit in real life.
How's the mustache?
Non-existent.
What?
It's not there at all. And he's still talking like Mark Wahlberg. We need to find the cross. He's not even doing the Sully thing.
You know, I love the Uncharted games, and I like Tom Holland a lot. I would be like the target audience for this movie. Zero interest in watching this, and it all comes down to Mark Wahlberg.
Tom Holland's not bad in the movie, but he just doesn't have that, like, Nathan Drake energy. Like, Nathan Drake is like a brawler, right? He's punching people. He's, like, kicking people, you know, but in, like a bar fight kind of way. When Tom Holland is, like, doing parkour and shit in the movie, I just didn't like it.
Yeah, and I never thought of Drake, even in 1, as being younger than, like, 30.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I always assumed that he was at least in, like, his early to mid-30s.
Mm-hmm. So and by Uncharted 4, certainly he's at least 40, I would say.
At least.
So having Tom Holland as sort of Drake Jr. is just a weird choice.
Yeah, and it's also like, it's for an action film where you see multiple people get killed on camera. It's entirely bloodless. There's a scene where a man gets his throat cut with a knife, and there's no blood. There's a red line on his neck. When it shows his body later, there's not even like a pool of blood on the ground. It's a red line on his neck. That's offensive. And also, there's
It's offensive.
It's offensive, and like they're
Such a gore hound. It's okay for every movie to not have copious amounts.
It doesn't
of
have to
fucking
be
gore,
copious,
Jim.
but it has to
I
be
know that
something.
You jerk off to Hellraiser, but calm down.
It's really sad, and like I don't know, man. It's weirdly sexist and sexless and bloodless, and it's just, I don't know, not very fun. And it also like blends all 4 of the game set pieces together, and I didn't like that either.
I noticed that in the preview. I'm like, well, that's from 2, and that's from 4, and that's from whatever else.
Yeah, it's got
Which kind of makes me feel like they didn't intend to make a sequel to it, but why would you make this movie if you didn't want it to be a franchise? You know, it's very
right,
strange.
yeah, and like what a great intro to the games for people who've never played them is like, because the games are kind of like playable action movies in a way. It could have been a really cool kind of crossover thing if you would have just adapted, like, you know, blend the first and second ones together. Those are fine to lump together.
Or just do 2. I mean, 2 I think can stand alone.
For sure. So can 4. Well, 4 is more of a sequel. That's definitely Sequel Town. Yeah. But I will say that I didn't really enjoy it, and I was glad I didn't pay actual money for it. It's on Netflix if you want to check it out. John, how did you level up?
I got a question for you first.
Oh, sure.
Do you think if they had cast anyone but Mark Wahlberg, would that movie have got less viewers? Like, do people actually like say, "Oh boy, I can't wait to see another Mark Wahlberg movie"?
I think maybe if you're like a white Catholic dude, maybe you're excited to see Mark Wahlberg in a movie, but
okay.
I can't imagine any other demographic being stoked for
Like
a Wahlberg
people from
movie.
the greater Boston area, I guess, are excited about Mark
Unless
Wahlberg.
you're Vietnamese.
Oh, okay, cut
You can
that
cut
joke.
that.
No, but yeah, he sucks. I don't understand. Like, it doesn't seem like he's much of a draw. He's like charisma void. Just
Yeah.
put someone else in. Like
And
him and
he-
Ben Affleck don't need to be in movies.
If like, and his acting in Uncharted is terrible. Like the way he delivers his lines, it's almost like The Happening in a way where he's like kind of gasping them out at certain times. It's very bad. Bad.
I assume that he's very like professional. Like he must show up to set on time, know his lines.
I'm sure he is.
Hit his
like
marks,
he
you
seems
know,
like one of
'cause
those.
people keep
He seems like
casting
one of
him,
those
so-
rise and grind assholes that's always like got to be up
Yeah.
at 5 and working out. And is, you know, there's nothing wrong with having a work ethic like that, but it's annoying.
I just feel like any other actor could have done a better job. Put J.K. Simmons in there. He's great.
J.K. Simmons would have
maybe he
been
is.
fantastic. Maybe a little bit old for Sully, but
Yeah.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons is...
I'm serious. Jeffrey
Like
Dean
50s
Morgan,
and
man,
70s, man.
that would have been good casting.
Yeah,
Jeffrey
I
Dean
think
Morgan's
that's
great.
good.
There's a lot
And
of
he can
dudes
be
that can rock
funny,
a fucking
too.
mustache that could step into that role and would be willing to commit to playing a guy from fucking Long Island or whatever Sully is supposed to be, you know? New
Here's
Jersey,
my,
I don't know. Boston?
SJW hot take.
Okay.
You know, considering hot take. Considering the sort of contemporary lens that we look at things like the Indiana Jones movies through, and the ideas of colonization and appreciation versus thievery and things like that, I think that they should have made Uncharted: The Lost Chapters be the movie.
Oh, The Lost Legacy?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, that'd be a really interesting movie. You could have Jamila Jamil as the one lady.
Oh, she'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone else as the other lady.
Chloe and the other one?
Nadia.
Chloe and Nadine.
Nadia. Yeah, Chloe and Nadine. Get Lupita Nyong'o in there as Nadine.
Sure.
Oh, I
That
would 100%
would be
watch that movie.
amazing.
So, obviously, I'd like to announce, especially since I just revealed it, my first novel is being printed. That is, of course, Stiffly Weird and the Case of the Missing Ghost. So, I hope you all...
Can't wait to read this.
I'll enjoy my first novel. And I ordered a new Nintendo 3DS. And when I say new, make no mistake, it is a used one that cost me 275 Canadian dollars because I should have bought one when they were at stores for 180. It was literally in my Amazon thing. I was just waiting until I got work because I put it in my Amazon checkout thing in 2020, and I was like, oh, well, I'm off work right now. I've been furloughed for a few months, so I'll wait till it comes back. And then when I got my job back and had money again, it was gone. They were all sold out. It was the saddest day of my life. But I got one finally, and the 3D works way better. It is a much improved device. It feels more solid. It's real pretty. I want to play every game on it. I did have to re-download every single game I bought, and that took forever because I bought like 60 games digitally on there, including like Virtual Console and stuff. And so every time you download a game, it shows it in a little gift wrap, and you have to unwrap each one. So I had to this morning before bed, I had to unwrap every single game. It was fun.
Oh, that's what your picture on Twitter was. I didn't understand what I was looking at.
Yeah, I was re-downloading all my games. Unfortunately, it did, transferring from one 3DS to another, it did delete all my save games. I'm going to have to start every single game over again.
No.
Wow, that's a bummer.
It's fine. I mean, I finished the ones I mean to finish, and I don't remember where I was in Persona Q anyway, so that game's so interesting.
We're going to have to get that one for the show eventually.
How?
So.
I think physical copies of that game are like $100 now.
They'll re-release it on something someday.
Will they?
Yeah.
Maybe. If they do,
Well, if
for
they
sure.
don't, it ain't my fucking problem.
Yeah, that's true. And it is a hardcore dungeon crawler, and didn't Jim really want to play one of those?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah. Or was it
Jim loves
Matt?
a
Maybe it was
dungeon
Matt.
crawler, I guess. No.
Oh, it wasn't Matt? Okay. I played more Shin Megami Tensei 5, and that game is gorgeous.
Wow.
That's definitely one we should do
we
on
have
the
to
show.
play that one for the show one day.
Yeah, it's like a mix. It's got a little sprinkle of Persona in there. They put a little Persona. It's got the UI from Tokyo Mirage Sessions, so it's got a nice clean UI, and the graphics are gorgeous. Like, it's one of those Switch games that looks like a PS4 game. That happens occasionally, but it really doesn't look like a lot of times Switch games sort of look last gen, especially the RPGs and stuff. But This one looks great, like gorgeous game. The frame rate's a little chuggy, but who cares? It's not an action game. It's just turn based. So I think this would be a really great one for the show. It's got a really dark and ominous soundtrack, which I like.
We really need to play one for the show for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 that's on Switch.
And if that's the one that we play first, then so be it. We played Persona 3 before we played Persona 1 and 2. We played Final Fantasy 9 before we played any Final Fantasy.
That is
we have a
true.
history of playing late games in the series.
We do what we want, and we play what we want
Sometimes
when
brand
we
new
want.
games. Maybe we just want to play a brand new game for once.
Yeah.
A
Except
link
for this year,
between-
we don't do what we want or play what we want when
That's
we want.
true.
We play what you want.
Yeah.
For listeners.
And we got a new vote out. A new vote out for action games with Okami in the lead. And
We have a
if
new
you're a
vote
$5 Patreon patron,
I'm positive I have not made a selection for the new poll.
Matt, you were on this Zoom call when Jim posted the thing.
and he asked you what your selection was, and you said it was Bayonetta.
Look, I can forgive your memory most of the time, but we've been recording for 45 minutes. This was at most 50 minutes ago.
Bayonetta. Which is a great game.
That's on the Xbox.
And it does
the
have a
PlayStation,
mode where you
so-
can hold down a button and win the game if you're not good at action games. So I've never
Oh, really?
brought myself.
cool.
That's amazing.
I've never brought myself to that.
Fucking vote Bayonetta.
But I played on easy and I die all the time. I don't know. It's really hard. There's
Push
also
button to win.
God of War. You might say, hey, haven't we already covered God of War 2018? And Jim Banks would say, shut up.
That's exactly what I would say.
Was that a bonus
It
episode?
was a Patreon episode, yes.
And then finally, Uncharted 4. Vanessa's favorite game that I've never played.
Yeah, I picked Uncharted 4 because although everyone knows Uncharted 2 is the best, there was some discussion of, hey, let's play something that not everybody has played, and 4 I think is really good, and the end making me cry.
Very good game.
Very good game,
I,
making me cry.
I should tell you my adventure of trying to get the 3DS to work. Because, okay, so here's my adventure. I get the 3DS, right? And you have to transfer from one thing to another. And then I found out from one system to another. And so I did that. And then I was like, well, I realized the game, it actually tells you, hey, you have an old 3DS, that takes SD cards. The new 3DS takes micro SD cards, so you won't be able to use it. And I said, no, because that meant, like, having to move everything and all my saves and get lost and everything. So I went out to Walmart. Well, first I went to 3 different stores to try and find a place that sold an SD card with 64 gigs. And I finally got to Walmart and it was on sale. And I was happy. So then I get home and I was like, okay, let's just swap those memory cards. And then I realized that to swap the memory cards, you actually need a number 0 Phillips screwdriver to open up the back of the new 3DS. And I didn't have one of those. So I went to bed and then I got up and bought that screwdriver. I took it out and then I put in the memory card and it wouldn't work. And then I realized you had to format the memory card into FAT32. And then so I had to like go through adventures of trying to figure out if I had something that would connect to one of my computers so I could do that. And then PC didn't work and I was trying to do it through command terminal, but it wouldn't because the card was too big. It was a whole adventure, friends. It was a whole boring adventure. But I got it working. I got my 64 gigabyte card formatted FAT32. All the computer people I know were upset that I did that because you shouldn't be doing FAT32 on a file system that big. But I did it anyways. Suck it. Who's left to level up?
That's it.
That's it? All right. The Wolf Among Us. So that came out.
I got some questions.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Johnny. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think we're kind of doing the same thing, right? Like,
I was going to ask about our history with both this franchise and also Telltale Games in general.
New game intro and Fables chat.
I'll go first. I've
All right.
never played this game, though it's...
Wait, I didn't actually ask. I was just saying what I was going to ask. First,
Wow.
Johnny's going to tell us when it came out. Go, Johnny.
sorry, say that again?
You were saying when this game came out.
Yeah, I was going to say,
John, when did this game come out?
remember 2013? Blurred Lines was playing on the radio.
Blurred
No.
Lines was
Dance
my
to
life.
Get Lucky. Obama was in his second, less glamorous term. And
Still pretty glamorous.
yeah,
Not picking a Supreme Court justice to the absolute fucking detriment to us all.
classic games like The Last of Us were released. And Spelunky. 2013 was quite the year. Cut to Matthew on the phone in his room while Get Lucky plays in the background. He's lying on the bed with his feet in slippers. Just, he's just chatting on the
Is that
phone.
the year that the Square Roots podcast came out? I feel like it might be.
No, it's 2016.
Yeah, 2016, 2013. What's the difference?
3 years. 2016 was a way worse year. It's way worse. Yeah, so
That's
that's
the Square Roots podcast came out.
we did discuss last episode what we were all doing in 2014, and I feel like 2013 is probably going to be pretty similar, right?
Yeah, I was turning sweet 15, and I was
Right.
running for junior homecoming queen.
I was still working at a car dealership. I was a photographer at a BMW dealership and then got moved over to be used car manager at a Volkswagen dealership, even though I had no qualifications to be that. It was pretty funny.
I was the lead singer in a rock band after having been woken up from 100 years of sleep because I, carry the curse of the vampire.
Matthew is a vampire Lestat.
Oh.
Baby.
And Jim, what were you doing in 2013? Were you
Yeah.
working at a sports equipment?
Yeah, I
Foot
was probably
Locker?
working in sales somewhere.
Okay. All right. Well, good bit. Vanessa,
Yeah.
what were your questions?
I would like to know two things. Number one, as we know, we being the four of us, but we not being you, the listeners, because I haven't told you yet, this game is based on a comic book.
What?
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
true.
It's true. From
It is
Vertigo
true.
Comics. Anyone ever read this comic book?
Was it a
Matt?
Vertigo? I thought it was an Image. I have read all of it.
Oh. It could be Image.
It's Vertigo.
I have never
It's
read
on the
it.
titles
Is it?
screen of the
It
game.
does say
yeah.
Vertigo
Well,
when
that's
you
what I
start the
thought.
game.
Yeah. Matt's gone quiet because he's embarrassed about his faux pas.
That's true.
Nevertheless, I would like to hear you talk about your experience reading this comic book.
I like Fables a lot. It's good. It starts stronger than it ends, and it ends halfway through, and then tries to have a weird second act that doesn't work. But then it has a good ending. I think I liked the end. It got a little shitty at the end. I don't want to talk about it because this is a prequel.
Oh, is it? I was going to ask if this game followed the plot of the comic book.
Fables is a good concept. I think it's a good comic book. If you like comic books, it's definitely worth reading. Particularly the first several arcs are very similar to this in that they are kind of murder mysteries, and this is kind of a murder mystery. So I can see how this game kind of makes sense, even though I would say that Fables starts as a series of like murder mysteries and then just kind of turns into a, kind of overall story of a group of people, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We
And
started really late.
yeah. And question 2. I'm sorry, I guess I should allow Jim or Johnny to say if they have read this comic book.
I have not.
Johnny?
One sec. I also
Okay.
have not.
I have never read Fable. I have, however, played some Telltale games before. Telltale makes adventure games. In the day, we used to call them point-and-click games. Now we call them QTE games because they're cuties. They made Tales from the Borderlands. They did a Batman series. They've done a Game of Thrones series. And perhaps most successfully, they did a series of Walking Dead games. I've played The Walking Dead, The Batman,
Back
and
to the Future, of course.
Tales from the Borderlands. I didn't play
Game
Back
of
to the Future.
Thrones.
Didn't play Game of Thrones.
I
Loved
played Back
Game of
to the
Thrones.
Future. That was neat. I can't access my copy of the game because I bought it directly from Telltale and they went out of business, and now I don't have a way of playing it anymore.
That's
Terrible.
a bummer. That's a life lesson for our listeners, though. Don't buy directly from the developer when they release the game, because they will go out of business, and then you will not have access to your copy of the game, and you'll have to rebuy it on the Xbox store anyway.
I don't even know if you can buy Back to the Future now.
I don't know. Maybe not. I was surprised that I could buy a Wolf Among Us, The Wolf Among Us.
Fable. Jim,
Yeah.
you ever play Telltale game?
Yeah, I played some of The Walking Dead, and I played the first Batman Telltale game, and that's it.
Their server's working again. I can now download it.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh, that's such great news.
Yay!
We fixed it for you, John. You're welcome. Because this game is on the Square Roots podcast,
Yep.
we bought copies of it, and they were like, "We are back, baby!"
We've been a little bit ahead of the news a few times recently. Have you guys noticed that? Casa Bonita was back in the news.
I mean, we weren't ahead of the news. That was definitely just kind of happened to be in the news after we talked about it.
We're ahead of the news, Matt. We're
Happened to be in the
breaking-
news.
We're
in Canada.
newsmakers.
Like,
We're newsmakers. We're
you're right.
newsbreakers.
I mean, there's gonna be an announcement tomorrow about how Telltale Games is back, baby. I agree.
I think like Embracer or someone bought them.
Honestly, I've never been a big fan of these Telltale games. I played a little bit of The Walking Dead and did not like it. And I think I played a little bit of like one of the Sam and Max games and didn't love it, even though I love Sam and Max. But you know what? Back in 2013, I didn't have as much patience for QTEs and long cutscenes because I had a lot of small children running around my house. And now I have more time to sit back and just kind of enjoy these things, and it's not so bad.
Sometimes if you come to things at different points in your life, you'll find that your experience with them is different.
Yeah. I feel weirdly, though, I have very little interest in any of the franchises that they have games
Yeah,
in,
me too.
Like, I don't give a shit about I actively dislike The Walking Dead. Not for any real reason other than just, like, I had enough of it 10 years ago.
Yeah,
cannot
I
believe
was a
it's still
big
around.
Walking Dead head when it first came out. Like, I was a huge fan of the show. I went to, like, cast events and met the cast and like had them sign a poster and stuff. I was real into it for a while. Played the Telltale game, but now
Jim kissed a zombie and
now,
he
like
liked
Matt
it,
said,
you know?
I just don't care about it. Zombies are so overdone, you know.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's just that Walking Dead really just kind of just does the same thing over and over again. And just get out of here. I don't have the time.
My issue
life.
with I've only played the games, right? I watched a couple of episodes of the first season. It wasn't for me. I thought the first game was series, season 1 was great, but then I played season 2 and I was just like, oh, you know what? It's just characters I like just keep dying.
That's how I
hate
felt
this.
too. It felt cruel. Like I understand that's kind of the point
that
of
second game was
that.
Sounds
so
like what the
Yeah, it's
show
kind of
does.
the point of the world, but I just didn't. It wasn't fun to play.
The second game had like this autistic girl, and the whole idea was she was a drag on the group and should die. It's like that made me want to stop playing the game.
Yeah.
It was genuinely bullshit. It's like, you know what? Even in a hard society, we still take care of our families, and just because she's autistic doesn't mean she's a drag. And I hate the implication that she is. And ugh. So yeah, that turned me off of the series after that. That particular moment just made me say "fuck off," So
This is a true story. I was
Absolutely.
in a car the other day, and the driver told me that her daughter, who is 14, was watching The Walking Dead, but really liked a particular character, and so she planned to stop watching it before this character died because she knew that would happen. And I said, I really liked that particular character, and I stopped watching it before that character died because I knew it would happen. Just a fun moment of bonding over how Walking Dead kills all your darlings.
I'm just doing a COVID test.
I see
You
that.
know,
Yeah.
the thing is, eventually it gets like the killing your darlings gets boring. Like it just, it's coming for everybody. Like it's. I mean, you just said it. It's
Deeper, Johnny, deeper.
Deeper?
Oh my God!
that?
Let's not talk about this, please. It's
Not talking about the fact
podcast,
that
not
Johnny is
video
doing a
medium.
home test.
Nobody knows what's happening.
At the moment, as a swab up his nose.
Oh.
You don't actually have to do it deeper, Johnny.
Okay. I was a little worried. All right, so after I've done that,
Well, this is
You
Walking
keep
Dead
going.
Sucks Chat.
It's time to talk about The Wolf Among Us. Who nominated this game?
I did. I'm the winner. I picked
Well.
the game.
Then you have the honor of telling us what happens in this
I'm
chunker.
not sober enough to take this responsibility on.
And whose fault is that?
It's yours. Chapter 1, The Disturbance. So the game starts, as Vanessa read the intro at the beginning, it opens up by describing the setting, which is that a bunch of fable characters and fairy tale characters live in New York, kind of magically protected from the world, because they fled from the fairy tale worlds that they lived in because of some terrible war. And they're a bunch of refugees, but they've lived there for hundreds of years. Who knows? Read the fucking comic books. What do you want from me? The game opens
They're
with...
immortal.
No,
right?
it says they
Yeah.
live a long time.
They're basically immortal as long as they are remembered.
Yeah, that was my guess. That as long as their stories are being told, they can't die.
they are all certainly more powerful the more known they are. So this game opens on our main character, Bigby Wolf, a.k.a. the Big Bad Wolf. He's just a man. He is scruffy man. He look a lot like Wolverine, to be perfectly frank. He looks a lot like Wolverine, but he have curtains instead of spiky hair. And that's pretty much it.
He's kind of like your
bland.
typical noir private eye cop guy, you know?
Loose tie, rolled up
Smoking
sleeves,
cigarettes.
Yeah,
dingy
he
Yeah.
smokes,
shirt.
he drinks, he has a chip
Smokes.
on his shoulder.
He's got a chip on his shoulder
He's
because he's the
seen the
big bad
gritty
wolf.
side of this city, and he knows the ins and outs. And
He's seen the gritty side of life because he has been the big bad wolf and eaten pigs and blown down houses.
Yeah, I eat
and
a pig.
fought a Red Riding Hood grandma, I guess.
I didn't
don't
do
know.
that.
Probably.
You think about the stories that have the big bad wolf in them because I think there's really only like 2, but this sure acts like there's millions of them.
Yeah.
Um,
And Big B, get it? Big B Wolf.
Maybe the boy who cried
It's
wolf.
fun.
Maybe he had something to do with that. You know, that little boy who
Vanessa.
was like, "A wolf." Yeah. Hello.
All right. 90s, probably ABC miniseries, Memory Time. Who remembers the probably 90s, maybe 2000s? No way. 90s ABC miniseries where they did miniseries.
Are you talking about the 10th Kingdom? Or the 9th Kingdom or whatever?
Boy, I'm pretty sure I am.
I watched the hell out of that. I had that on VHS and I watched it a lot.
Kingdom.
That rings no bells
I don't.
for me.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yes,
I
it
don't know
has
what you're
John
talking about.
Larroquette in it. That's
Ooh,
100%
I
it.
do like John
Jim, I
Larroquette.
love you so much. You're the
Okay,
best.
so what is this? What is
Jim,
this thing Matthew's
I also
talking about?
watched the shit out of the 10th Kingdom. And this, I think Fables reminds me a lot of that. It also had Ed O'Neill, guys.
Oh.
Diane
What is
West.
it? What is it?
Yeah, what is it? I don't know.
What
what
is
this
it?
is.
I'm trying to pull up the Wikipedia entry so that I don't have to describe it for myself.
Just have Jim
Okay.
tell
The 10th
us.
Kingdom
You
is an
watched
American fairy tale miniseries, blah, blah, blah. It depicts the adventures of a young woman and her father as they are transported from New York City through a magical mirror into a parallel world of fairy tales. It was a
Yeah, so
miniseries
in
on
that
NBC.
miniseries, there are like these 9 kingdoms, and they all represent kind of a different like source of like fables and stories and stuff. And then there's a 10th kingdom, which is our reality, and it's about kind of all these things crossing over.
Oh.
And it was
It
good.
was good,
And
actually.
this Fables reminds me a lot of that. It was good. It had the big bad wolf as, I think, the main male.
Rutger
Character.
Hauer, Scott Cohen, Diane West, John Larroquette, Ed O'Neill,
Ed O'Neill, baby.
Warwick Davis. Stacked cast.
Anyway.
Everyone loves a Warwick Davis.
Statcast. This game stars Bigby Wolf, and he's our hero. He's the sheriff of Fabletown, which I guess is supposed to be like a secret borough of New York, is kind of how it's portrayed.
It's funny that they call it Fabletown because that name is stupid. whenever they say Fabletown, it makes me laugh.
I just assume it's
They
like
seem a little bit more spread out than that to me.
Jake. It's Fabletown.
I mean,
You know, it's like a Chinatown
Yeah.
riff. I thought.
Oh, maybe it is. Yeah.
the game starts with Bigby Wolf entering a building because he has been called in on a disturbance at like an apartment building. So he walks in, and at the door we are greeted by Mr. Toad. You guys know Mr. Toad?
Yeah, Mr. Toad, he loves automobiles so much that he got one. He was obsessed, and he's like, poop, poop.
I have a
And
point of
then he-
order.
Yeah.
Huh?
That story was like a what do you call that? A metaphor for a gay relationship. But Mr. Toad is heterosexual in this one.
Is he?
Well, I don't know. He has kids.
Well, he
so,
has a child.
Yeah.
Gay men can have children, Johnny.
That's true.
Don't be so problematic.
I didn't see
You're
a
canceled.
wife in the picture.
Yeah, you don't see a Mrs. Toad.
So who is Badger? Is his partner? Is that it?
I thought it was Frog and Toad.
Oh yeah,
No,
you're
that's
right. No,
Frog and Toad is a completely different story.
Which one am I? I'm
well,
thinking of the
maybe
gay
this is
one,
Frog
right?
and Toad. You don't know. Actually, I
Yeah,
think they
you're
do
thinking
mention
of A
Badger
Year with
and
Frog
Toad.
and Toad. This is based on the book The Wind in the Willows, which, as far as I
that's a
know,
different one.
is not a metaphor for a
yeah.
gay relationship.
Sorry, I
it's
mix
a
those two
metaphor
up
for a
all
frog
the
who loves
time.
cars.
Yeah. And the frog
Yeah, Johnny says that
crashes
all
a lot.
frogs are the same, and
All frogs
he
go to
doesn't
heaven.
care.
Is
Yep.
the important part.
Oh,
you know?
so that's why he has a Mustang, because he likes driving fast cars and crashing them.
He likes driving fast cars. He was put in jail in the book.
Mm-hmm.
He does have to dress as a lady to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Then he finds that his beautiful Toad Hall has been taken over by weasels.
Mhm.
That's the Wind in the Willows.
Mhm.
Wind
He's
in
sort
the
of like a
Willows.
British aristocracy kind of figure in The Wind in the Willows. He has friends who are less well-meaned than him. But in this, he is Cockney.
Yeah, he's a man who lives in an apartment with his, presumably single with his child. So
I
that's
like
not
that
nice.
in
I
the
mean,
Book of
that's-
Fables,
that's not
in
nice.
Mr. Toad's entry, it refers to him as Slumlord.
Yeah, I think he owns this sort of tenement building and manages it. So he's fallen quite far from the high days at Toad Hall.
We immediately start grilling him about the fact that he looks like a toad, and we're like, you should have a glamour on, sir, or we will take you to the farm. Which they kind of describe as an actual farm that they can go live at if they don't look human.
If they don't,
They
look
don't like
human.
it.
He says he doesn't. Yeah, he just says he doesn't want to go to the farm. That it sucks, and he says he cannot afford a glamour spell because of glamour spell inflation.
And you get
Quality's
a worse
gone
quality
down, price has
spell
gone up.
for
Be on the
more money.
lookout for right ring douchebaggery in this.
No, and there's nothing. That's normal. Yeah, and that's not. There's nothing right wing about inflation and people extorting folks.
Yeah,
That's a good
except
point.
that the
Except-
right is
yeah.
the cause of it.
So we chat with Toad, but then you can kind of grill him about why you have been called there. You can hear shouting upstairs. Upstairs, I think he tells you that the woodsman is upstairs, and that is the woodsman from Little Red Riding Hood.
Hey, what a beefcake! Except he's not
So,
a good guy.
but you hear a woman starts yelling, and you rush upstairs because, oh no, a woman is in danger. So now you get upstairs, and you can do some stuff here. You know, this is kind of the intro to the game. You can walk around. There's a phone hanging off the dial that you can hang up, a payphone. There's a matchbook that you can pick up. You can choose to knock on the door or kick the door open.
Uh-huh.
What do?
I knocked on the door. I'm not going to do a no-knock warrant.
I did also knock.
I didn't pick up the matchbook that the game told me to pick up
Uh-oh.
because I already was clicking on the door by that point.
Oh, no.
Was it an important
Wow.
clue?
I don't know.
It's still in my inventory.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, huh.
You can give it to somebody at the end of this chapter. But I did not. I kicked the door open because it sounded like somebody was being attacked. And you do not need a warrant to enter a premises if it sounds like somebody's being attacked, guys. I'm not trying
That's
to say...
true.
I'm not trying to say that anything... Whatever. You burst in, and the woodsman is slapping around a young lady who has short black hair and a ribbon around her neck. And, you know, kind of looks like she's probably a prostitute, to be honest.
She's dressed like Jill
Sex worker?
Valentine from Resident Evil 3.
She is.
Yeah, another famous sex worker.
What?
Sworker. So,
She's a police officer and a member of STARS.
I said, what?
So you interject, Big Bad Wolf interjects into this fight with the woodsman, and you get a big QTE scene. Who loves a big QTE fight?
I thought this first one was kind of hard. I don't think the prompts are as noticeable as they should be, especially the analog ones.
Yeah.
I found myself missing them and having to train myself to be on the lookout.
Yeah.
I missed a lot too.
Me too. They're kind of tough.
I threw him out a window, but it seemed like I went out the window too. Like I smashed his
you definitely
head
both go out the window.
against a sink.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. I
You
threw
can
him
kind
into
of
a
knock him out.
bookshelf.
And then have a quick conversation with the girl where you can ask her what's going on, but she doesn't tell you much.
She says,
I
"My
hit him
lips
on the head
are
with a bottle.
sealed."
And she's like, I'm here for my money, basically. Like, I need to get paid before I can leave. You
Right.
try to tell her to get the fuck out of there. It's a big QTE fight. I'll tell you what, it doesn't make me play Simon, so I guess I can't complain that much.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It looks good. Like, you bang his head off the ceiling, the sink, and
Yeah,
It
I
feels-
didn't mind it, and I don't think that you can reach a death state in this game. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that if you fail these QTEs, it just kind of changes the story, and I appreciate that.
I feel like the wolf just gets a bit more banged up too
Yeah.
if you lose a lot.
Yeah, I was confused as to why we went out the window, because I'd knocked this guy out, like he was talking a little bit, and then I talked to this lady, and then I was like, excuse me, and then just like it cuts to outside the building, and he's tumbling out of the window with this guy, and I'm like,
Huh.
why?
I
Did
chose
that
to throw him
happen?
out a window. That's weird.
Yeah, it didn't like give me a choice. They just jumped out the window together.
well, presumably he tackled you through the window, or you tackled him through the window. Regardless, you end up on top of Mr. Toad's sweet ride. By the time you wake up, Mr. Toad is standing there, shaking his head and groaning.
He's only like
when you
mildly
first wake
upset
up-
that you've totaled his car. He's still like,
When you first wake up, you see the woodsman asleep, or not asleep, but knocked out on the ground. And then you can kind of talk to Toad for a minute, and then you look back, and the woodsman is not knocked out on the ground, and is in fact right in your fucking face and punching you to death. And thankfully, the girl from upstairs has come down with the woodsman's axe, and she does chop him right in the back of the fucking head. It's great.
pretty sweet looking axe too, honestly.
Yeah. He had a nice axe.
I did enjoy this because we don't really know very much about this world at this point. So it's like, did she just kill him with an axe? But
Yeah.
everyone's pretty nonchalant about it.
This
Yes,
is
they're
what I
very
don't.
nonchalant.
So, based on what you guys said earlier, am I to believe that they are superhumanly durable because as long as people are telling their stories, they'll always come back to life?
Yup.
Huh.
All right.
I got some questions, but we'll move on.
So, guys, if you have questions, go ahead and go read Fables. All right? Like, I am not going to sit here and defend the goddamn mythology of this series. This is what it
Nobody's
is.
asking you to.
You
Why is this a fight now? Are we
yeah.
fighting, guys?
No.
You're getting
no.
defensive, Matt.
Yeah. This is Matt's
so-
favorite comic book series by his favorite conservative author, and he's going to defend it.
So there's some
It's,
inappropriate
it's not,
sexual
but
tension
it's worth reading.
between the
There
sheriff.
is inappropriate sexual tension
Between the sheriff.
because she's like, "Ooh, what big eyes you have!"
Yeah, for sure. In fact, she says to you at one point, like, he asked me if I recognized him and then lost his mind. And I was like, so is this going to be Little Red Riding Hood? Because she...
That's what I thought.
Bigby also was kind of like, maybe I kind of recognize you. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? She's not, and it doesn't tie into anything. But you can... The woodsman is laying on the ground. He's got an axe in his head, but he is still kind of talking. And as Vanessa said, they're very nonchalant. And they kind of say, like, you'll be fine. The girl walks off. You can opt to like give her all your money.
I did, because apparently
She's
too.
looking. She needs $100. I gave
Yeah.
her all my money.
Yeah, me too.
apparently
We suck.
all my choices were the most boring, bland choices, and I was very annoyed by that.
It's not boring and bland to try to play the game where you can like the main character and not think he's a piece of shit. You know?
Yeah, I'm trying to make him a nice guy, a good cop.
Yeah.
And
That's
the game
okay.
does not want you to. The game is like, don't you want to be edgelord, edge cop? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I feel
nope.
like, in a weird way, I feel like early Fables was kind of edgelordy. It was noirish, but it was kind of edgelordy. And so I guess I'm not surprised to see that here, but it's a little weird having read Fables. Like the last time I read it all together, and it really does just kind of turn into like a, I don't know, it kind of sheds a lot of that, and it's a little weird to remember, like, oh yeah, like prostitutes and people's heads getting cut off and shit. I guess that's what this is about.
Yeah, it's
Game of
very like
Thronesy.
noir tropey kind of thing, and there's nothing wrong with that per se. I don't
Yeah.
mind noir as a genre. I just tend to dislike this archetype. But
I just feel like it's from that like super edgelordy like early Game of Thrones era where it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's sex the shit out of everything.
What's the archetype you
um,
don't like, Vanessa?
just like the sort of put upon sad sack guy, but he's also like so cool, you know?
And the ladies
Is that?
love
Do you think
him.
that's a trope that is written for? I don't feel like it's a trope that is written for women. Like I feel like
No,
that's
it's
a,
written for men. It's
Dudes
like
love
a-
this.
Yeah,
In
it's
noir,
like a male
yeah,
power
the
fantasy.
dude is the mysterious guy, and then there's usually like two types of women in noir. There's the the damsels, and
the
there's
deadly-
the femme fatale, right?
Yeah.
and they both want the cool
Oh, yeah.
dude, even though he has no personality and it never makes a joke.
It never makes a joke.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But Telltale does let you play with narrative often more than I'm expecting. For example,
I do not have
slight
COVID.
spoilers.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
congratulations! Johnny's rapid test is complete. The Batman game has Harvey Dent as a major character, and when I played it in such a way that he never suffered his terrible accident.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
it really lets you kind of change the narrative. So I thought that was fun. So I'm hoping that if I'm like a nice wolf, good wolf, that I can really change this guy's life around. We'll see.
Doesn't seem like anyone
So-
in Toontown has a good life. All their houses
Yeah.
seem pretty rough, and seems like bad things are happening to everybody. Don't live in Toontown.
Yeah. It's hard to even tell what it is they do, but I'm sure we'll get more into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of slowly reveals it here pretty quickly, I think. Anyway, as you're chatting with the girl, who does, I think, if you talk nice to her, eventually reveal her name to be Faith, you
Oops.
look back and Woody is gone.
I did not get her name.
Woody is gone. Woody the Woodsman is gone, and I don't know. You kind of are like, "Ah, shit," and she's gone, and you leave. Time to go home.
I do.
And that's the end of chapter 1. One thing I want to mention that we kind of didn't bring up here actually is this first chapter does do a lot of noirish cinematography. Let's say.
Yeah, this game's
And
gorgeous.
it does a lot of neon.
Mhm.
It uses a lot of neons in it, neon pinks and purples and stuff, and it really, yeah, as John said, it's gorgeous. It looks fucking great. I mean, it's kind of janky sometimes, and
Yeah.
the character models are a little rough. Like, so the game itself is not amazing looking, but like a lot of the directorial, I guess, choices are fucking spot on. Like this thing really drips kind of classic noir and like modern-ish, like it's fucking great. It's
Well, I
cool.
think I love that the color palette has this like 70s comic look to it. You know, that color comic thing, and like when they're driving on the street and the street lamps are yellow and they're just these big bright circles, and it looks really cool. Like it looks like really neat prints or something, and I love that they really took that comic book look and the vibrant way that the colors are used. There's kind of a texture to everything that looks like paper. I think that looks really cool.
Yeah, it's cel shaded.
Oh yeah, but they put
It
a texture on it too, so it's like printed.
I've noticed that. And it has that Telltale signature character model style where they're 3D, but they have very strong, like hand-drawn appearing lines on them.
Oh yeah, I do love those thick black, very like classic animation and comic book style lines. Honestly, I love that in everything that I see it in. Yeah, it looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
so that's the
art
end
direction
of
is great.
chapter 1.
Yeah.
And the end of this episode of the Square Roots podcast.
Nope.
Oh, we could try to stomp on the gas a bit.
Yeah. Now that we've
chapter
established
2,
the world.
Yeah.
Chapter 2 takes us to the Woodlands, which is where Bigby lives, and we quickly learn is also the headquarters or the main business office for the Fabletown government. Bigby returns to the Woodlands. You start off in the street, I think, and you walk through the front gate, and there is a sidewalk and a bunch of grass with signs that say "Do not walk on the grass." As you walk through down the sidewalk, you can tell that somebody is hiding behind the bushes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Of course, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it lets you. Does it let you ignore it entirely? I don't know if it does.
I don't know. I think it sort of cuts to it as you're walking past, and I was like, come on out, and out comes Beauty.
Yep, Beauty of Beauty and the Beast.
And this is only the second girl I've seen so far in the game, and I was like, are all the women going to look identical except for maybe hair color?
They do all look kind of similar. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. 100%.
Yes.
You can talk to Beauty. She is, I don't know, it's not very clear. She's leaving, and she's embarrassed that you have caught her and kind of asks you to leave her alone. And, you grill her a bit, and she's like, fuck off. But then kind of asks you, like, please don't tell anybody you saw me here. And then leaves.
She's like, don't tell my husband.
Yeah. And
I was pretty nice to her, and then as she was leaving, she's like, it's not what you might be thinking it is. It's something else entirely.
I said that I was going to stay out of it.
Me too.
And
I told her I'd lie for her. Why not?
Once you walk inside, you see that the doorman is asleep at his desk. You can poke around a bit and then take the elevator up. But
on your way up the elevator, you are interrupted by Mr. Beast.
He's a strapping man, but not a hot man.
He's strapping, but he doesn't look like a beast. He looked like a man.
Yeah.
And he's like, where Belle? I mean, Beauty, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I told him, I'm staying out of it.
And yeah, me too.
I told
like, what
him,
the fuck does that mean?
I haven't seen her. I don't know.
I said I saw her, but he missed her, I think is what I said.
Oh.
Wow. Jim sold her out. So, anyway, he allows the elevator to close, and you go upstairs to your apartment. And once you walk inside, you are greeted by a unwelcome sight. A pig is asleep on
piggy.
your chair.
It's a sweet little
It's one of
hoofy
the
piggy.
3 little
This
pigs.
is Colin.
Yep.
Colin the pig, one of the 3 little pigs. The 3 little pigs played a role in the comic books as well. And Colin is fun.
So
and
he doesn't have
he's kind of an asshole to you.
So
he does not want to be at the farm. He lives at the farm and he has escaped, and he just comes and crashes on your couch, I guess.
Yeah. So the girl who I guess I didn't find out yet, she was called Faith, said she would crash by my apartment later. And the Wolf's apartment, she does note, oh yeah, everyone knows where you live because you have the smallest apartment in the Woodlands. And it doesn't. He doesn't even have a bed. He just has like an easy chair.
Yeah.
And
He has a chair that he sleeps in.
Colin is sleeping on it.
Yeah. Colin's great because he is not like Toad, who wore clothing and was a little bit like a man. Colin is just a straight up pig.
Yeah, he's not anthropomorphic. He's just a pig.
He doesn't have a glamour, and that's why he got sent to the farm.
Yeah, he now Colin's a little bit different because he can pass, but he can't pass because he's intelligent. Versus somebody like Mr. Toad who just can't pass because they're not humanoid enough.
Yeah, also as a pig, you don't have a lot of independent rights in the city of Manhattan, I would say. Like if you were to walk down the street by yourself, you'd probably get scooped up by animal control pretty quick.
I mean, he has made it from upstate New York at the farm to fucking the middle of New York. So
he does apparently have the skills to sneak out.
Yeah. But he you chat with him, he's kind of a dick. He tells you that nobody likes you. You can kind of grill him about it. I really didn't. I was just like, I don't care. Maybe he keeps saying he's so tired. So I was like, well, then I should let this man go to sleep.
He told me that nobody liked me, and I was like, nobody likes me? And he goes, oh, I didn't mean it. I mean, come on. He was like, what a sad sack this guy is.
To me, I harassed him a bit. You
really?
can pour yourself.
Nobody like me?
You can pour yourself a drink. Yeah, you can pour yourself a drink and choose to give him a drink. I did not choose to give him a drink, and I kind of harassed him, enjoyed my drink, but then I ended up giving him a drink at the end and going to sleep.
He does keep referencing how you did huff and puff and blow his house down, and he feels that you do owe him a little bit for that. And you're like, that was hundreds of years ago.
So Bigby goes to sleep, but we're woken an indeterminate amount of time, but presumably not very long later, by a bang at the door, and it is Snow White. Ooh. She is the assistant to the deputy mayor, and she needs help ASAP, but she won't say anything. You kind of talk to her in the hall as you follow her out, but somebody walks by and she won't say anything, and she takes you back out front of the woodlands to the entrance. And there is a jacket covering something on the ground.
What's under the jacket? What's under the jacket?
Pull the jacket back, and it is a severed head. Bum, bum, bum.
Not just any severed head. The severed head of
from
the
earlier,
girl we saw before.
Yep, the toot.
Swerker.
Jim.
So I complimented her
is
ribbon.
the preferred nomenclature, sir.
That the game made sure you noticed before. She's like, don't you like my ribbon? And I was like, yeah, it looks pretty. And then it's in her mouth. So I did take it out of her mouth. And wasn't there something attached to it? Oh, yeah, the ring.
A ring, yeah.
There's a signet ring tied up in the ribbon that you can take out and you look at it, but you don't recognize the symbol.
The camera like moves around and it shows like a little puddle of blood on the sidewalk, but I couldn't find that later. I was like, okay, well, I should probably be following the blood trail or something, but I couldn't find anything.
Found it.
Yeah, you follow the blood trail around the side of the building.
I didn't find it.
Because you go around the side of the building and there's blood on a fence post, like a
Yeah. And Wolf deduces that whoever did this must have come in from the outside.
cut themselves on the fence, and then when they were leaving the head. And he surmises that they left the head as a message.
Yeah, but to whom and for what? When I first saw this girl and she was talking about her neck ribbon, I thought she would be that story about the girl who marries the guy and she's like, I'll marry you, but you can never ever take my neck ribbon off.
I thought, somebody just untied a ribbon and her head fell off.
Yeah, and her head fell off.
Well, for all we know, that's exactly what's happened so far, because we don't know much about this lady. All we know is that her head is here. You can do a bit of an examination, and as we discussed, you find blood and yada, yada, yada.
You find a scrap of fabric if you follow the blood trail, which Johnny did not, because he's a bad detective.
I walked around every part I could,
and
I couldn't leave the screen. I don't know. Something went wrong.
He also remarked that the trash can was weirdly tucked away in the corner by the fence where it doesn't belong, where it wouldn't belong. And it made me think that whoever did this was short. Anyway, because they had to use the trash can to get back out. Anyway, that's my guess. The last thing you do is talk to Snow, which you can kind of discuss with her what you're going to do next and who you suspect so far, which I kind of told her, I don't know. Fucking leave me alone.
Yeah, they occasionally talk about Bluebeard. Fairy tale fanatics will know that Bluebeard was a man who got married, gave his wife a little key to the house, and was like, you can go anywhere except in this closet, and don't you dare go in there. Then he went away. She went into the closet and found all the corpses of his former wives that he had killed. And she dropped the key. It got a little blood on it. And then he came back and he was like, I see the blood on the key. You went to the closet. Now you have to go in the closet forever.
Oh, that's a horrible story. My God.
It's a terrible story. Yeah.
Bluebeard, the pirate. Anyway,
So, moral for women, don't snoop.
don't snoop, I guess. It's
Do
not
you
a good
think
story.
like some guy just wrote that because he felt his wife was too nosy?
Yeah, he was like, wow, look at this story. I think in most of the tellings of the story, her brothers show up and save her at the last minute or something.
That sounds like
So-
revisionism.
That actually does sound like the version that I read, because I feel like I read like an abridged children's version of that.
It's a great story for kids.
It has all the
I had a
things
lot of
kids
weird-
like threats
Has all
and
the things
bodies.
kids love.
I had an abridged children's version of the Cask of Amontillado.
I mean, it is just sort of a retelling of the myth of Cupid and Psyche. So if you want to go all the way back,
Nobody wants to do that.
all right.
So we talked to Snow, and the last thing you can do is she says we're gonna have to tell the deputy mayor, and she does not seem happy about it. And you can kind of tell her we don't have to do it right now, but I think you just go do it anyway, because the next chapter starts with Bigby walking into the deputy mayor's office. Actually, it starts with Bigby outside of the deputy mayor's office, and you walk by a guy who gets mad at you because you're cutting the line, and you can be like, I fucking work here, idiot.
Yeah.
But he shows back up later and hates your guts because of this, regardless of what you say.
Yeah.
Deputy mayor is famous cuck Ichabod Crane.
Yep, he's a real piece of shit too.
He looks like a
Yeah.
You
real
walk in and
Scrooge.
he's just a straight up like pure asshole misogynistic rant at this poor woman about how this dead fucking corpse on the front lawn is her fault somehow. Because God knows it can't be his own fault.
Yeah.
He's a real piece of shit, and he tells her to call and move up his massage appointment because he has to go get it right now. Which I assume means he has to get jerked off right now, which is weird, dude. Like, somebody died, and your first thought is, I better get fucking whacked off?
He's stressed out, and he also wants a bottle of wine.
Yeah. And he leaves, and Bigby, you can kind of talk back to him, but there's not really any good reason to do so, to be honest.
Yeah, I kept my mouth shut, and Snow appreciated that. She's like, yeah, it would have just made things worse. But the game so wants you to talk back to him. It gives
did.
you like 4 options.
I told
yeah,
him to
how'd that
shut
go
his
down?
dumb face,
Oh,
pretty much.
I was just like, you are being ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, like, hey, this isn't anyone's fault. Don't blame her. And he's like, well, maybe I should blame you for not doing your job. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Your job of sniffing out crime before it happens. Anyway, he leaves, and you meet my favorite character in this game so far, a flying monkey named Bufkin, who is drunk.
Do not like this character.
I love Bufkin. He's drunk and
It's
stupid.
like a real Jar Jar.
He's cute. He's fun. He likes to get drunk. He likes to fly around and find books.
Jim, do you
The
like
interesting
Bufkin or
thing-
not?
Jim's not at his desk.
Vanessa,
The interesting thing
Yeah.
about Bufkin...
Do you
or
like
about
Bufkin?
this...
Bufkin neutral, I would say.
okay.
Jim's back. Let's ask him, too.
Jim, do you like Bufkin?
Yeah.
Jim loves Bufkin.
Jim loves Bufkin.
Jim and
I like
Bufkin
how- I like his nudity.
sitting in a tree.
I like how he's drunk.
Nudity was what I liked about Colin.
I'm drunk, so why shouldn't I like a character that's drunk? So, Bufkin is the librarian, kind of. This office that you're in, the deputy mayor's office, it doesn't show you much, but it's you can tell that it's very large. It's much larger than a building should be. It seems to go on forever in the background. It's magic. You know, gang? You know about magic?
I know about
There's
magic.
a magic mirror in the corner. There's a sword and a stone somewhere, I think. If you poke
Oh, I
around.
missed that.
Yeah, maybe I just know that. You
Man, I
can
would love
talk to the
pull a
magic
sword out
mirror.
of a stone and be the future king of England. That would be so sweet.
Yeah, I would be down for that.
I'd like set energy regulations. Be amazing.
You set Bufkin off to find some books about the residents of Fabletown, so that you can figure out who this dead girl is. They literally are just like, yeah, just bring us the first 3. Maybe we'll find her. And then, of course, you do when he gets back. But in the meantime, you can walk over to the magic mirror, and it makes you rhyme at him so that you can ask it where people are. And you look at the woodsman, and he's drunk at a bar and throwing up. And you look at Bufkin, and he's drunk in the back, and you yell at him to hurry the fuck up. And
You can look at Snow, and she's like on
even
the
though she's in
phone
the
3
room
feet
with you.
away,
Mhm.
and the
I
mirror
know,
makes
like a
fun of
real
you.
creep.
I wouldn't look at
Yeah,
Snow. That'd be
rightfully
creepy.
so. There's one more person you can look at, I think. I don't know. Who cares?
You can look up Faith once you find out her name.
Well, you
Well,
can
you can't
try
look her-
to.
Oh, you look
but
up the prince.
The mirror.
Oh,
Well, I tried to look at Faith, and the mirror was like, this person's,
it says my lips
concealed.
are sealed.
My lips are sealed. And I was like, ooh. And the wolf calls him out on that. He's like, what? And he's like, that's not my choice of phrase, which I thought was very interesting.
He also, once you do learn Faith's identity, you can look for her father, and you can see that he's dead. So it's very clearly not an issue that she is dead and cannot be shown by the mirror. But first, Bufkin brings the books back. You look through them, and you find out who Faith really is. She is the Donkey Skin Girl.
Donkey Skin Girl, a lesser known
Also
fairy
known
tale,
as
but a real one.
The Ass Skin Girl.
But
I thought it was pretty funny.
In
But
this telling of Donkey Skin Girl, which is not quite the one that I remember hearing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this story is that this king had a beautiful wife who died, and he was like, his wife, I think, wanted him to remarry, and she said, find the most beautiful woman in the kingdom and marry her after I'm dead. And he's like, well, that's our daughter, so I guess I have to marry her. It's sure what my wife would have wanted. And then the daughter is not down with this, so she procures the skin of a donkey, which she does wear as a coat, and it disguises her beauty, so no one can recognize her. She looks like a donkey. And then a prince finds her and sees through her disguise, and he's like, oh man, I gotta fuck this donkey, and then he marries her.
because
It's
you
one of
could
those
see
fairy
through
tales
her.
that was probably like made because some dude was having relations with his donkey, and then he was like, oh no, it's Donkey Skin Girl.
Yeah, so so you find out where she is, and he's like, sorry, but I cannot see. My lips are sealed.
But he
Which
can show you her husband, and he shows you an image of a bloody knife next to someone's feet who is sitting in a chair.
He did not look good. Something looked bad going on there. And then you can also ask to look at the king, and it just shows a skeleton arm with that signet ring. So I guess the king is very dead.
Yeah, so that eliminates him as a suspect.
And at this point, you're like, okay, well, we know. You talk to Snow. Snow's really doing like a His Girl Friday kind of role here, and I like that. Like, she's sort of assisting you on your adventures, and she's got thoughts and ideas like a His Girl Friday. I like that. And then she's like, you both agree. You figure out where this Prince Lamont would live. So you're about to head out there, but you can get a phone call. It's from not Colin. It's from Toad, and Toad's like, "Help! Help! Something's going bad. You got to come here right away." And then he hangs up. Something's happening, And so you get to choose which one you go to first. Are you going to go help out Toad, or are you going to go talk to the prince?
I did Toad first. You seem like he was in duress.
Yeah, I did Toad first.
I also did Toad first.
Matthew.
I did Toad
Matthew.
first.
He said he did Toad first.
I think that this was perhaps not the wisest decision if we want everyone to live a happy life. But it's the decision we made, and part of the fun of Telltale Games is not save scumming. It doesn't really have a mechanic that lets you do that even if you wanted to. So we just have to live with the consequences of our choices.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the reasoning was wrong. I, had reason to suspect that perhaps something wasn't going well with the prince, but something
So no
definitely
one went to
wasn't
the
going well
prince?
with Toad.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
We all
Wow.
went to the frog. And so when you get to the
you
frog...
can save that guy's life, so we all fucked that up.
Yeah. I saw there was a guy in the woodsman's apartment. I didn't say anything. I was like, oh, you know what? I'll just sneak in there and not scare him away. But
Me
he
too.
was already gone by the time I got up there.
Then we go to Toad's apartment. He's having an argument with his son. And then he's like, oops, false alarm. There's nothing going on here. I thought there was someone upstairs, but there wasn't. And you're like, there was. And you say that you're going to look around. Snow takes the crying child to his room.
So he
and
can
you-
show her his fly collection, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
The kid's very
Yeah,
sweet.
he is.
Yep.
Yeah.
The voice acting is good. He's very believable.
It made me feel bad that Mr.
And-
Toad was so mean to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Toad
And then
sucks.
we get to investigate Mr. Toad's apartment. I really enjoyed this part.
He did talk his way out of one of the things. So basically there's a few clues you can find, and if you ask Toad about them, if you ask the wrong question, he can weasel his way out of it.
Yeah, for me, he talked his way out of the bloody fire poker. Because
Yeah.
I didn't directly confront him about his lie. I tried to push. I didn't try to edge him. I tried to
edge
push
the
him
frog.
a little bit more into forcing his
Fertilizing
lie
your
to fall
clutch.
apart, but it didn't work.
I would not rough up Mr. Toad. You can, but you don't have
I
to.
wouldn't do that.
I
No
didn't
one
rough
would.
him up. I did catch him in every single one of his lies.
Oh. I
No
messed
match
up the
for my
fireplace one.
logic.
Yeah, it's not hard. You have 4 choices.
Yeah. I messed up the fireplace
And one of them is usually...
So he did confess that either Tweedledum or Tweedledee was there. There was a Tweedle, and he said that if he told Big B that Tweedle was there, he would kill his son. I was like, well, I'll make sure that doesn't happen, because that'd be bad.
Yeah, this frog does, in the end, seem to care about his son and
Yeah.
does end the scene comforting him.
He also has a massive head wound from being hit with that fire poker, I guess.
Yeah. At the end of the day, this thing doesn't really change regardless of which way you pick it. So we all fucked up. And it's pretty boring, actually. It's a big waste of time. In fact, I found this particular part really fucking frustrating because it just forces you to walk around this room and click on shit.
I liked
I
it.
didn't like it too.
I just wanted it to let me fucking go. Like, I hated this. Like, it trapped me here and made me play out its little fucking boring play, and I did
Ooh,
not like
I
it.
loved it. Finding evidence, finding clues, finding the inconsistencies in Toad's testimony, and then calling him out on it, using the evidence that I'd found. It was great. I felt like a real She-Hulk attorney at law.
Anyway, next you go to Prince Lawrence's house. And bad news, gang. By the time we get there, he is quite dead.
Well, near
And
death.
apparently you can stop him from killing himself if you go there first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Oh.
survive. Well, we find out at the end. He shoots him. He has shot himself right before we arrived.
Yeah, he tried to cut himself with the knife. Didn't work. He shot himself instead. But he is still alive. At least he was when I got there. And Also, Toad gives us donkey skin coat. At least he gave it to me.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
And
that.
there's a letter in there from her to her husband saying that she's sorry.
I did open it beforehand.
yeah.
Because of course I would.
I did not. I just said, we're going to Prince Lawrence's house. We'll save it for him. But unfortunately, he was dying on the floor. If Snow asks you to go get him some water, and then when you come back, you can try to talk to him. For me, he was just like, Faith! And I was like, great.
Yeah, I was like, who did this? And he goes, Faith.
Yeah.
So then we can look around the apartment. I found some interesting things. I found a suicide note, but it was on a Murphy bed that was folded up into the wall and appeared by the blood splatter to have been folded after he killed himself.
I wish I had a Murphy
Who could
bed.
have done it?
I found a
Oh,
gun.
everyone does, Jim. We all want a Murphy
Yeah.
bed.
I
don't
found
want a Murphy bed.
a
You do.
bullet casing. I found the bullet in the wall and it matched the angle, so that all worked.
Yeah, eventually you realize that he has shot himself. He was sitting in his chair and he shot himself. He also was cut up by the knife. I don't know. Like, it feels like he's been trying to kill himself and maybe not following or not being able to
It's
do
probably
it.
hard for
It's
these
hard
fables.
because he's a
yeah.
fable. Yeah.
There's also a bunch of sleeping pills and stuff
Yeah,
around.
they mentioned that he's
It
tried
kind of
multiple
felt like
times,
he had
yeah.
like
Yeah. He
Yeah.
took the pill, he tried the knife, and then finally the gun did it. So I guess they can die, you know? We sort of implied before that they couldn't, but it seems that they can with sufficient
Yeah.
trauma.
Yes, they can die for sure. Also, you know, the more known. Well, anyway, these are not super well known fables, but he has killed himself. There's a note from Faith on the refrigerator that says like, "I'm leaving." You can find the suicide note where he says, "I'm sorry." You can read her letter where she says, "I'm sorry." We don't really know what the fuck has happened here, but eventually you check the closet and somebody bursts through the closet.
It's the Kool-Aid Man.
It's a Tweedle. It's Tweedledee.
Oh.
We're done.
And we get a fun QTE chase scene. You guys like this QTE chase scene?
Kinda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I failed the last bit and then fell when I was jumping across the fire escapes and fell to the floor below. And then I saw him stomping above, but I managed to like intercept him as he went out the window.
Yeah, that happened to me too. These QTEs are not easy. Jim, you have any QTE
I
problems?
failed one of these, but it ultimately didn't matter. I caught him in the end.
Yeah. So I caught him, and
Right. We're all doing the exact same thing.
yeah, I know. I'm gonna try. I think we'll all try to do different things next time.
Yeah.
And we'll all do the same different thing.
Yeah, maybe we should all pick a style of wolf. I already called dibs on Good Cop, Sweet Wolf.
Anyway, you finally chase Tweedledee down. You can punch him, but his brother D shows up, or Dumb shows up and knocks you the fuck out. And then you get woken up by Snow White sometime later, and you decide the only thing left to do is go to the Trip Trap Bar where you saw Woody in the magic mirror and go question him. And that brings us to the final chapter of this episode.
Well, for me, Tweedledee did tell him to tell him that that's where what's his face was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the woodsman.
The woodsman was. Yeah.
He also told me that he's a private investigator.
Yeah.
And that we're on the same
And that
side.
he wouldn't tell me who his employer is.
Right.
Well, he's threatening to kill children, so we don't trust him.
Yeah.
Chapter
it-
6, you... Whoop, go ahead.
It's starting to seem like everybody is after something in particular because they were like tossing the woodman's apartment. This lady, Faith, said she wouldn't leave until she got, you know, what she came there for, which I don't think was actually the money at all. I
yeah.
think she was there
Mm.
looking for something else.
I still am not sure if that was her apartment or the woodsman's apartment.
That was the
It is
It was
woodsman's
the
apartment.
woodman's apartment.
Yeah. So, I settled down at this bar. The woodsman wasn't there, and they said they hadn't seen him. So I sat next to the jerk guy, and he's like, "Well, a lot of stools in this bar." And I was like, "Yeah, but this one I wanted to cuddle up to you, baby." And he did not like
You
that.
can harass this
Yeah.
man. This is the guy from The Office earlier that got mad that you
Is
cut
this guy
the line.
Grendel? because the woodsman
says
calls him
Gren.
Gren.
Yeah, I think he's Grendel.
So who's the woman? They call her Holly, and she's like a ogre.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Troll.
I don't know. You should look. We should look at the. Maybe she'll show up in the Fabletown
Oh,
log
yeah.
thing.
The Book of
Yeah, if
Fables.
you pause
She
it,
transforms. Well, let's not jump ahead. So you get to the bar, you harass this dude. Woody's picture is on the fucking bar. There's a half-empty beer. There's a dark game going on. Like he's here, very clearly. And so you just kind of hang around and act like an asshole until he walks out of the bathroom. And then you kind of he's drunk, and he the first thing he does is admit to you that he
says that he's a thief. He says
says I'm a thief.
yeah,
Right.
that his intention was to rob Faith, like bring her
No.
back to. Well, he also says that
He doesn't also say. It's just misleading at first.
All right. So
He says I was going to rob her.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He says, I was going to rob her. And then you're like, Faith? And he's like, no. I went to Grandma's house to rob her and Little Red Riding Hood, but the wolf was already there. So I killed you, hoping that there would be a reward. And then everyone thought I was a hero. But I'm not a hero. I'm a fraud. And I don't want to fight you anymore. And I was like, I don't want to fight you either, buddy.
I'll be right back.
And so everything seems to be going pretty well. But Grendel, at the end of the bar there, is not having it.
Yeah, he's a real aggro.
And I try to tell him, hey, buddy, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And he's like, no, you'll wreck yourself. And he does turn into a big old troll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like, you're working for the man. They don't care about us down here. It's only the rich and powerful who get any kind of justice in Fabletown. Screw you
Fableton.
and the whole system you work for. And then you do have to fight this troll.
I thought this troll looked like Oogie Boogie.
He did have an Oogie
did.
Boogie kind of face.
Yeah.
There was a definite Oogie Booginess to his appearance. So at first, he's just trouncing the floor with a wolf, no matter how many good QuickTime buttons you press. And then as he's dragging Wolf across the bar, Wolf does turn into a wolfman.
Yeah, he wolfs out and then
It's a
you
real
can
Teen
use-
Wolf looking wolf.
Yeah, it is a real teen wolf.
Yeah, he's not a full-on wolf like the piggy is a pig. He's
Yeah.
just kind of a wolf guy. And you can claw this troll and be like, claw, 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 claw.
Mm-hmm.
And,
You can rip off his arm if you want.
Did you guys do that?
Oh, I sure did not.
I
oh,
didn't do
no.
that either.
No, but I think I have to be more of a bad cop. You guys are all good cops. So next time, I'm going to be the bad cop, and I will rip off his arm.
We're just like, we're all good, nice fellas
Yeah.
here. And so, what are you going to do?
Just trying to keep the peace.
I'll disarm him. So, okay, I'm going to take the worst choices possible next time. I will be dumb bad cop.
Only if that brings you pleasure in your gaming experience, Johnny. Don't feel like you have
sure.
to sacrifice
I
your
do.
own journey.
I want
for
to
the
do
good of
something
the
different.
pod.
So I'm gonna
So,
gonna be the worst. It'll be a
so
real Bim
you-
Janks.
So you're going to be real mediocre.
Aw.
What? What?
I wasn't making fun of you. I did not mean to make fun of you there. I meant to reference your gray ninja choices at the end of that.
Yeah,
Kodor game.
that's true.
Yeah.
Janks. Bim Janks somehow getting the good and the bad ending at the same time.
Yeah. Bim Jank's medium villain. You know?
Yeah, I
Like-
apologize for it. I
That's
didn't mean
true.
to insult you.
Shows up in underwear.
Anyway, you stab this dude with a pool cue, and then you kind of walk. He's finally down, and you walk to the bar and order a drink, and you act like a fucking real aggro douchebag and like break a bottle and like.
I didn't do
Yeah.
any of that.
Oh, it did for me. It didn't even give me a choice. She puts down a glass and then you like smash it and you're like, I want double.
Oh, okay, I did do
want
that.
a small glass. I want a double.
And then I said I'll pay for
Yeah.
any. The city will pay for any damages because I was trying to be good.
I offered to pay myself, but I'd already given my money to Fave.
Yeah, I did the same
Yeah,
thing.
me too.
Yeah.
When you drink your drink, you kind of unwolf. I would say, to circle back to what you guys were saying a moment ago, I think that they go for a very intentionally Wolfman, classic kind of Wolfman look for him in this mode. It's also very Teen Wolf-esque, like.
Wow.
But that's all right. He
It's
looks a
almost
lot like
someone said
Wolverine
that
to me,
while
to
you
be
were
honest
gone.
with you. Oh, did you? I missed that.
I did say the team that he looked very Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf-esque. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there's a final decision here as Tweedledee enters the bar, and you have to decide whether you are going to arrest Tweedledee or Woody. Who did you choose?
Here's the thing. I don't think Woody's the serial killer, so I didn't arrest him. And I thought Tweedledee had more information. But I feel like I made the choice that everyone else made. So
No, I went after Woody.
Oh,
I was
interesting.
like, I don't really have anything on this Tweedledoodle, but Woody, was already starting to talk to me and open up. So I thought maybe I can get some more information from him. And if my theory is right, that he has something that everyone wants, then he's the one who can tell me what it is and where it is.
I picked Tweedle because it seemed like he was the character that knew more about what was going on than I did. So he seemed like the one that I would want to talk to.
Yep, same.
Yeah, at the end of this, it tells you what percentage of players made the same choices that you did. And I think it was only like 30% picked Woody to arrest.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm just trying to do my job, and my job was to arrest Woody.
It's true. That's why you were there.
that's true. I should have arrested Woody so I could flirt with him. Except the game will not let me be gay and flirt with Woody.
Yeah. That pig we met at the beginning sort of implied that this wolf has a thing for Snow White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do get a
And
like
there
kind
was
of
all
an
that
awkward
sexual
exchange
tension.
in the car where you kind of interrupt each other, and there's some sexual tension there. Romantic tension, I should say.
I didn't feel like that. I just felt like she was talking about her career. She's like, I don't feel like I can do enough good, and you can give her career advice.
Yeah, I was like, you can do it. And she's like, I didn't think you'd be that supportive. Like, strap in, because you don't know anything about this wolf.
So I'm in my game I was walking Woody back to the apartment building. I guess in your games you were walking the Deedle.
Yeah, I don't think he was with me. I
Yeah.
just was he?
No. Yeah, you walk him out, and then you handcuff him to the light post because you see that there's some cop car flashings ahead. And then you look, and there's real police, like actual NYC police, I guess, NYPD.
Yeah. Mundies, as they call them, or mundanes, just like in the Xanth books.
So, what happens next?
Oh, well, you cross the police line and you go to see what it is they're all fussed about. And they're all looking at something on the front steps of this building. You lean over them to take a look too. And it is the severed head of...
Snow White.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that's the end of episode 1.
I thought it was a pretty effective cliffhanger. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, so... Johnny, what are you squarely against?
Oh, well, I am. I'm roundly for the art style. I think that it's got a really good graphic design. It looks like comic book panels in a really cool way. I love the texturing and the art. I think that stuff, it looks really nice. Jim.
I will say that I am... I'm roundly for the setting of the game. I generally like these, like, modern day fantasy retelling things. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. What about you, Vanessa?
Similarly, I enjoy mythology and folklore and fairy tales. Everybody knows that. It's the number one fact about me. So I like seeing these interpretations of these characters. Matt, what are you roundly for?
Well, I'm roundly for edgelord bullshit. I love seeing this gritty guy and sex workers. It's so cool and gritty and real. It's finally telling it like it really is.
Wow, Matt. Wow.
Classic Matt
Yeah.
response.
Has
Classic Matt
Vanessa
response.
gone?
I sure have.
All right, then let's move on. There were no bullshit minigames so far. I don't know if there will be any. And yeah, we have a Patreon. As we've said before, there is a vote up now of action games. And I just realized something. If you pay $5 a month, you have access to this vote, and you can be a voter. They're all mythology related action games. One is Shinto Buddhism, story of the origin of the world, I believe. One is based on Christian mythology, the angels versus demons and Revelations. One is there's Shinto. There's 3 games. Oh, God of War, and that is on Norse. It's a hard word to say. Norse mythology, and Nolan North mythology in Uncharted 4. What's his what culture are they stealing artifacts from?
Uncharted 4 sort of focuses on the Knights Templar and, again, Christianity.
I thought
and
Uncharted 4 was
Arthurian
about
legend.
pirates.
It's about pirates as well, Jim. It's about all those things.
So, no matter what flavor of mythology you like, there's something for you, Mythbusters lovers.
Mythbusters lovers.
Also, if you pay $3 a month, you have access to every single bonus episode, like unnamed bonus episode, because I think it's too hot. It's just too hot to play Beyond Two Souls right now. I don't want to sit here playing Beyond Two Souls, and the kind of game we're playing right now is exactly like Beyond Two Souls. So
Yeah,
It's true.
I know that Bree's been playing it to stay ahead of the podcast. We will do an episode, just maybe not this month. And no matter what you give, $1 or whatever, we will thank you, because we thank all our Patreons. We don't thank every single one every episode, but we do thank you eventually. So here's a smattering of Patreons.
I want Jim to go
Sure,
first.
I'll go first. I'd like to thank Happy Pride Johnny, Adam H,
Yay.
Christian Go, Joseph, Jared Collins, Eric Garb, Welcome to Cute Boy Jail, Honk Honk, Chris Penyak, Julian Curtis, Chief Hazard built a sentient ghost ice cream truck that haunts the Square Roots hosts, D. Jethro, William Westgard, Ward Childress, Arthur A., Mike, and Keesby Knight.
And I would like to thank Florian Jonas Kramer. Vanessa only thinks about one thing, and it's disgusting. We all know what that one thing is. Say it with me, boys.
Taskmaster!
Yeah, that's right. Nick Moriarty. Oh, hey, it's Amanda P. Andy M. Abortion rights are human rights. Heck yeah. 69 love songs. Likes big boats. They cannot lie. Hi, I'm Troy McClure, and you might remember me from such films as Seth G., Saving Sid's Nuts, Ari Kopovara, Megan Sullivan, Ron, Tracy, or Gage La Charité.
I'd like to thank Samu Mitchell, Lexa Varial, Cerberus Minotaur, Vanessa's Gold Taco Bell PS5 is dreaming of a Dr. Steven Stone 5-hander to completion. Butts on Parade,
Wow.
Ross Hartley, Alex Joseph, Jack Mizell, Cyril the Wolf, Mike Klein, Dylan Rowe, Dr. Fine, say everyone's name, Agent of Professor Chaos, Nick, Sexy Grandma's Boy Toy is me, Johnny.
And I would like to thank Teen Wolfhard Bumpkins, Codab Games, Anthony Cruz, Race Jenkins, David Arnold, Grey Code, Wash in the Wind, Do Good Recklessly, John Scala, Matt Jorgensen, Oh No, Rubber Bear, Johnny Five Alive, James, Evan K, and Jake Dickerson.
All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to send us an email to have read on the air, our email address is squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
And don't forget to put a review, put a rating on iTunes, on Ghana, on Spotify. Just say you like the show. Tell friends about it. The nerdiest friend you have, the sad nerd who needs friends like us. Let them in on our lives. Help them out with a Square Roots recommendation. And also, thanks to Stephen Morris for our Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on Twitter as Beige on Beige and on YouTube. Links in the show notes. Vanessa.
Yes. I do think that if people are listening to the podcast on Spotify and they would like to hear our back catalog, which is not on Spotify, they should seek out our RSS feed or somewhere else you can find a podcast.
All right, everyone. For Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zandt, and I'm not going to call all of our listeners a bunch of fucking losers.
That's not what I said. I said recommend our show to sad boys who need friends. You can cut that if you want, Matt.
Oh, I'm not cutting it. I'll never cut anything.
I would like to say that if you're listening and if you are a sad boy, nerd boy, and have appeared on any international version of Taskmaster, I'll be your friend. Just hit me up.
Hit me up. Hit me up, not Vanessa. I also will be your friend, but I'll be your friend that doesn't gush about your celebrity.
All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I played so much Beyond Two Souls.
All right. You can-
No, I don't want to.
No, I don't want to play
Vanessa.
anymore.
Oh, no. This is a real between a rock and a hard place. Anyway, we'll figure that out on Facebook.
Did I do cast?
Oh, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. I would rather play Beyond Two Souls.
Ew, really?
I don't ever want to watch another episode of Family Matters, please.
That's
what the
Not
funniest
even the
part
not
to it.
even the Urkelbot episode.
You know what?
Especially not the Urkel.
100% backing Vanessa up on this. I had enough of that, and I don't need to
That's because
return
we
to it.
watched one episode for the podcast and you proceeded to watch like 3 seasons of it.
I think we watched more than one episode for the podcast.
We watched
Did
4.
we? We watched 4 episodes? Holy
It
cow.
was all season 1 episodes, though, which was fucking ridiculous. None
That's
of them
why the
had
next
Urkel
one
in
we should
them.
just watch all the crazy ones, like the robot one, or like a Stefan or Kel one, or a pirate one.
Yeah.
Sure, John. Whatever you say. Anyway,
Or
Vanessa,
the gun one.
tell us how you feel about it.
I want to do it. You can't make me do it. You can't make me do
Well,
anything.
John, I
I'm-
guess that's unfortunate. I'm going to back Vanessa up on this.
Yeah. I'm my own woman.